Welcome to Green and Gold FC. We are joined by Stephen, the club president for Olympic Kingsway, after their incredible victory over Melbourne Victory. How are you going, Steve?
I'm fantastic. It's been a pretty good week to be in green.
So, can you take us through the cup set? I've seen cup sets where an NPL club is parking the bus, they get 20% of possession, and they just nick a goal at the end, and might be playing a youth team or something, but that was pretty much a full strength. In fact, I think that was a full strength Melbourne Victory team, and you guys had about 50% possession.
Yeah, it's the way that our manager David Tuff loves to play. Certainly doesn't park the bus or sit back. It's always play, and that's what happens, I guess, when you do play and have the courage to play. But that's possible. There's great belief within our squad, within our club that we can beat anyone. And we're not in the Australia Cup just to make up the numbers. That we want to be in there to compete, and we want to show the nation what we're capable of. It was an incredible tie to go down 3 times and to come back 3 times. 90 minutes was just beautiful. It was like a dagger to the heart when the Victory scored that 3rd goal in the 89th minute, I think it was. But again, the players believed and found a way. And then there's the legend of Liam Boland, isn't there? So it was one of the great nights in Kingsway's history.
2 Bolans became a legend in Australian sport over a short period of time.
Yeah.
For those at home, sorry.
Really, the Boland story, really, on so many levels. If you look at the fact that NPL career, leads the goal scoring charts, has now scored against 5 A-League clubs. 5. And then we're talking,
Wow.
The big boys: Victory, Sydney FC, Central Coast, Brisbane, Adelaide. It's an incredible feat. And then to think that a month ago he wasn't going to play again this season, and he turned up training and said, "I'll see how I go. Can I get through training tonight?" And he managed to get through the session. And he said, "Well, okay, if I'm okay on Thursday, I'll come back again." And he came back on Thursday. He looked sharp. We got excited, and then didn't play that weekend. Train again the following week, and we got 15 minutes out of him against the Western Knights, I think it was. And he followed up with some more minutes the week after, and then comes on and does what he does against the Melbourne Victory. Quite incredible.
So I hear the NPL clubs have quite a tight schedule when they're playing. They often have midweek games. Sometimes they have cup games on top of, of course, the league games as well. And the cards carry over as well. Could you take us through that? Some of the logistical challenges in preparing for the cup.
Look, it's effectively now the schedule that we have and other NPL teams. It's equivalent to playing European Champions League / Premier League or La Liga or Serie A, whatever you're thinking. So, we'll play on Saturday against Fremantle. We'll probably fly either Sunday or Monday, play Tuesday, fly Wednesday home again, have a day off, train Friday, play Saturday, and if we're successful against Brisbane, then be back on a flight on either on the Sunday or Monday again. So it's pretty much play, travel, rest, maybe a session, and then back into it. So it's a difficult schedule, and you've got to consider the teams more often than not now in the last 16 of the Australia Cup are competing for their NPL titles. So they're playing games they need to win. It's not like season's finished, let's just concentrate on the Australia Cup and we can rest players and give them a week lead in. Everyone has really competitive games. We saw what Avondale did on the weekend against Heidelberg. That was just phenomenal. They're fighting for the NPL titles in Victoria. So everyone's got extremely difficult games. If we were to pick up, say, a certain player, his 4th yellow card on this weekend coming against Fremantle, he's then ineligible for the Australia Cup game against Brisbane, which is crazy, really. They have all these cards accumulating in NPL games, yet your suspension could then fall in your next competitive game, which is the Cup. So you have these A-League teams who aren't playing any competitive games, sitting back while we, in some ways, go belt each other to win championships in our respective states, accumulating yellow cards, and then that player could be suspended with the Australia Cup. I think that's certainly something moving forward the competition could look to potentially change and give the players every chance to play these Australia Cup games, because they are the best games of the year. We've been involved in this competition now for 2 years, and I'm in love with it. Until you've experienced it, maybe it's a little bit hard to appreciate just how good it is. I'm biased because I'm an NPL club, not an A-League club, but I really feel that if we could just I shouldn't say tweak the rules, but maybe make some adjustments and give NPL sides a few more concessions. Very soon we're going to see more NPL teams in the final. And for me, isn't that what we want to see? Don't we want to see a Sydney United, an RP, an Avondale, whoever it may be, an Olympic Kingsway or a Brisbane City in the final? That's what the Cup's all about, surely, yeah? And we want to see one of these NPL teams win it one day. That's what's going to elevate the competition to even greater status across the country. But I just, having been involved for 2 years now, I think we could just make some slight adjustments to help NPL teams in this back end of the tournament. Because, again, the A-League teams, they get their free pass to the round of 32 every year, don't they? Except for the bottom four have to go through a playoff. It is so difficult to reach the final 32. You need so many things to go your way in the cup competition. Once you get there, I guess you want to give those teams every chance of continuing to beat A-League teams and see the romance of the competition, see an NPL winner in years to come.
Absolutely. So I was curious about one thing you said there, where you guys have been in the Cup for 2 years. So can you tell us about some of the history of Olympic Kingsway? How long have you guys been about? What would cause you to form? And how come you waited until 2 years ago before joining the Cup?
Look, the club's 72 years old. There's a great history of the Green Machine in WA and in the late 70s, early 80s. The Green Machine dominating the football landscape. We had the best facility. We had the team that was winning championships. Every team goes through eras and periods of dominance, and then periods where the club's not so successful. Unfortunately, throughout the late 90s, the club struggled financially, got themselves into a position of very heavy debt, and that wasn't. Into the new century, and the club has suddenly lost its status in Saturday football, just had amateur status, and had fallen a long way from the heights of the early 80s. So it would have been around early 2015. One of our board members, Harry Tranos, put a few of us together on an advisory committee to support the board and start discussing what would it look like to bring the club back into Saturday football and be a club to challenge against. I came in as president at the end of 2017. So end of 2016, 2017 was my first year. And at that time, the Australia Cup was just starting. And I remember, I think Tim Cahill was at Sydney and saying that what the Australia Cup could bring back to Kingsway. And I spoke about, the dream of having Australia Cup games at Olympic Stadium and seeing these big A-League teams coming in on their buses and inspiring the next generation of kids in Western Australia. Our board has been together since then, 2017. We're in the second division, I guess NPL2 for a better word. 2017 we competed well. 2018 we won the season undefeated. We got promoted to NPL1, spent a season there, won the league, and effectively every 2 years we've won the league and been promoted. So we've been back in the NPL now for 3 years and in the Australia Cup for 2 years. Last year we won the treble, an incredible feat, considering we also made the round of 16 in the Australia Cup. So it's been a couple of golden years. I think over the 8 years or whatever, it's 9 or 10 trophies that we've collected. So it's nice to be back at the top of West Australian football and enjoying the success that we're having at the moment. And
you're 6 points off challenging for the Australian Championship as well. You're sitting pretty at second on the table.
Yeah, a game of the week was postponed against Bayswater. They managed to play on Friday night and avoid the rain. And there's some heavy downpours on Saturday again. And a lot of games got suspended due to waterlogged field. It's happening quite a bit in WA at the moment. So it's a concern that our state league venues aren't coping with the amount of games being played on there, or just protection from overuse. The City of Wanneroo were incredible with how they prepared Olympic Stadium for both of those Australia Cup games that we hosted with the Glory in Wellington and then ourselves in Melbourne Victory. We just need more of that support across our elite facilities here in Western Australia. It's disappointing when so many games are cancelled on the weekend because the facility isn't at a level to be able to host those games. The way the City of Wanneroo look after our field, it's like they've got the keys to London Stadium. It's just first class. We're so lucky, and we hope that in future years more grounds have similar love from their council as well.
So who funds the facilities? Is it the club? Is it Football Australia? Is it the State Federation? Is it the local councils or state governments?
Look, each club would have their own agreement. For us at Kingsway. We have a lease on the venue. We have an incredible relationship with the City of Wanneroo. I think our relationship with our local council is probably as strong as any club, certainly WA, and I'd question who has a better one nationwide as well. We work with them. You have to. They're a key stakeholder. Grant Shettelberg, Chris Langford and his team in Parks and Gardens are exceptional, but then it extends right throughout the office and the support we have from the Deputy Mayor, the Mayor, the CEO, everyone across community, the way they work with us, engage with us. And it's not only with our football fields and our facilities. We have local community markets, which we run on a Saturday. The support we get there across all our club with wanting to continue to develop the facility. I couldn't be proud of the relationship we share with the City of Wanneroo and then our local member of Lansdale, Daniel Pastorelli.
So it was announced he submitted an RFP for the national second tier. Can you confirm or deny that rumour?
No, we're the only West Australian team that's put up our hand. We have strong ambition to compete in the Australian Championship. There's still some work to be done from our side. It's not an easy process, and that's nothing against Football Australia. It needs to be a lengthy and detailed submission. There's a reason why no competition in Australian sport has a second division. Bloody hard to do, yeah. We're a huge country. There's massive costs involved. So, look, there's still work to be done on our side. When we get the chance to finalise, it's still a work in progress. To be fair, the last few months we've had some other matters that we've needed to attend to, so there still needs to be some work on the application. So it's I guess a work in progress.
I see. So you're still filling out the application form, essentially.
There's still some details that we need to go through. And look, I think it's quite well known some of the items that are on that application in regards to the bank guarantees and all these sorts of things. There's still some work to be done with a couple of stakeholders as to how we can meet the criteria to be in a position to satisfy what's required for the application.
So do you guys have the or is that a work in progress?
Look, we've got money. I think every club has money. It just depends on how it needs to be satisfied with Football Australia. Yeah. And then, look, that's not the only part of the application. I think a lot of people get caught up on that. The application is lengthy, but it needs to be. This is a big step for Australian football, and I guess for Football Australia, they need to make sure that the initial clubs that are going to be part of that competition have got the revenues and the structures to support themselves over that period.
So, do you have the money to cover the travel costs? I suppose that's the other obvious thing. I don't know whether that's 200 or 300K.
Well, I don't know even if it's the travel costs. It's a better understanding over a 22-week season. How will squads look, and what status will those players come under? Will it be full-time professionals? Like can they be semi-professionals? How will they be assessed in terms of how they need to be looked after? The PFA's point of view. It's going to be pretty difficult. To be in a competition that's, I guess, full-time and only a semi-professional as well. So there's a few things that need to be worked through in that space, because you also need to have your NPL squads going at the same time. So balancing the players and those budgets is probably just as important as travel as well. And then,
for sure.
Travel for us looks very different to the teams in New South Wales and Victoria.
So I imagine Western Australia would have a need of a larger travel budget than, say, a Victorian or New South Wales team.
Well, every West Australian team does. There's a I don't want to bring up the AFL in the program, but the Dockers and the Eagles always question the AFL about equalisation with travel across the season. So the size of the country we can't change. It's always going to be an issue for West Australian teams. Good teams, regardless of what the travel is, will win championships. That's not the excuse for winning. For the growth of the game across Australia, a team from every state should be represented in the Australian Championship. We recently had a discussion with the FA about the NPL and the criteria with squads for next season, and the reasoning that 6 players under the age of 23 need to be in the squad is to get more minutes into young kids for Socceroo selection. We need to build more game time into young kids to advance our Socceroos. Well, if that's the criteria for the NPL, then surely the criteria for the Australian Championship must be each state needs a team in that competition, because isn't that closer to the A-League and Socceroo selection than NPL in Western Australia? That's the one I'm most puzzled about. is if we're putting all these rules on NPL teams in state leagues because we want more Socceroos, surely we've got to find a way to get a team from every state into this Australian Championship.
Would you object to it growing over time with more states coming in one at a time and just starting somewhere, just say 3 states or whatever the FA can manage?
Yeah, we've always got to start from somewhere, absolutely. But how long will we leave it before a team from Adelaide or South Australia, Western Australia, Queensland being there the first year? Pretty important. If it's already designated to start 2027, so advanced 2 years, 2030, generation of Socceroos lost by 2030, isn't there? If we're putting all these rules on the NPL, I just find it a little odd that all the data points to these rules or these playing kids in NPL to produce Socceroos, yet we're not working hard enough to get more teams in the national second division.
So, since you've started putting feelers out to start a national second tier, have you been able to get an idea of what extra revenue sources you can get? Like, if local sponsors showed an interest, or
it's difficult. We're a club already got several business operations that feed into Olympic Kingsway. As I mentioned, community markets. We've got a couple of bingo sessions. We've got darts teams. We've got poker that's played at the club. West Australian clubs are at a disadvantage across all competitions because we don't have the pokies like many clubs do on the East Coast. But I'm a firm believer that once things become official, things can happen and change quickly. I think there's a lot of interest internationally football clubs that want to be involved in joining, for a better word, a story or a project, and that there'll be opportunities out there. I don't think that the finances to run the team are the greatest concern. And probably they're not a great example, but they are a reference. Let's look at Wrexham. If you want to look at Birmingham, I know a gentleman, 10th tier of English football. He's won 3 straight years of promotion. Bedford. He's had investment from the Winklevoss brothers, the original founders of Facebook. There's plenty of people out there that want to invest in the right project. It does surprise me sometimes that in today's world of football, that fewer A-League teams have bought into a pyramid model with some of the overseas clubs at the moment. Victory recently have changed that narrative. It's surprising that it hasn't happened more A-League clubs.
Let's before we go, let's get on to this week's Australia Cup tips, and we call them shouts in our forum. If you want to be involved in typical competition, please sign up. So let's go through them one at a time. So we have Sydney FC versus Sydney United. Who's your tip for that match?
It's a blockbuster, isn't it? A weekend fixture. I no disrespect to Sydney FC, but I'd love to see Sydney United victorious at a Denzel Park. I just think it'd be magic.
So our forum at the moment, that Sydney United does have some support. At the moment, Sydney FC are modest favourites. Wellington versus... What's that, sorry?
The Sydney FC fans, when our club account called Melbourne Victory the biggest club in Australia, when we drew them in Australian Cups. I'm not going to be doing myself any favours with the Sky Blues and the Sydney FC fans. Nothing personal. I'm wearing an NPL cap, so I'm really favouring the NPL sides. Plenty of love for Sydney, but I'm going to go for Sydney United. I've got to look after the Balkan cousins there.
So what about Wellington versus Nuno Wading, City FC?
Yeah, again, this is a case where you'd love to see the romance of Victorian NPL 2 team go through, but I think Wellington may just have too much from at home. I think this is where round of 16, if an NPL side draws an A-League team, the NPL team should still host in the round of 16. I think once we get to the quarterfinals, it can be whoever draws first hosts, but I'd love to see that adjustment moving forward.
2 reasons for Australian football fans to cheer for Nuno Wading FC. First, the romance of the upset, and second, it's an Australian team. But they do have the most lopsided vote count on our forum. Second most lopsided. So nearly everyone is backing Wellington. Macarthur versus Metro Stars.
Yeah, NPL cap, I'm going to go Metro Stars.
Well, here, the favourite is actually Metro Stars.
That's good to see. A lot of love there.
Yeah, so they've
had an incredible season, haven't they? They're in a situation where they're league champions are crowned, a week or so ago. In some ways, it's not a free hit for them, but they've certainly got the chance to prepare their squad for this game. It's exciting for them.
They're incredible on the weekend. against a pretty good opposition. So Western Sydney Wanderers versus Heidelberg, one of the best NPL clubs out there.
Yeah, they've had a big season, Heidelberg. We touched on that result with Avondale earlier in the chat. Heidelberg for me. I'd love to see as many NPL teams go through. That game, though, is being hosted by Western Sydney, is that right?
Could be, yeah. They're listed here as a home side. Western Sydney are narrow favourites for that one, but it's the forum's undecided. Olympic Kingsway versus Brisbane. Well, obviously we know who you're cheering for. You are mild favourites, so it's a close call, but people are slightly favouring Olympic Kingsway. It's away too as well, so that's a big vote of confidence.
Yeah, look, we've been the support we've had from across the country has been incredible. Thanks to everyone who's reached out. Adopted us as their second team in the Australia Cup. It's an incredible competition. Yeah, our love from the Western. Yeah, keep supporting us.
Auckland versus South Melbourne.
Oh, difficult, South Melbourne, but we're going to keep the same theme throughout this competition. Hellas for me.
So Auckland are strong favourites to win this one, according to our forum. Newcastle, who cheered when they got drawn, Cooks Hill United. Did you have an interpretation of that? Was that disrespect? Was that some more innocent explanation?
I didn't say, is it still some ways a derby up in that neck of the woods of New South Wales? I'm not too. Maybe the fact they were playing someone from their region, they thought that a rivalry could be built there. But for me, again, wouldn't you love to see Cooks Hill continue the cup sets and go past the Newcastle Jets, who were impressive against Adelaide, but no, Cooks Hill for me.
Well, most of our hearts will be with Cooks Hill, but it looks like the forum is overwhelmingly favouring Newcastle Jets, which might explain the cheering. So they would like to absolutely rub that cheering in their face. So Apia versus Avondale, so two NPL teams against each other.
Yeah, this is a huge game, and the winner of Brisbane versus Olympic Kingsway will play the winner of this game. It's a blockbuster, isn't it? Two huge clubs from New South Wales and Victoria cooked Apia. So impressive in so many ways against Melbourne City, but yeah, we know the narrative behind the team that Melbourne City put out. But you've still got to beat them, and that team would have been extremely match fit as well. Avondale seem to be hitting a bit of form late today. If I don't pick Avondale, I'll upset Liam Boland, so I'll say Avondale, and then. Well, wouldn't that be something if the great man played against his former club in the quarterfinals?
Well, incredibly, Apia is one of the most backed clubs on this list. Nearly every single person, apart from one person, is shouting for Apia. They're more backed than most A-League clubs.
How about some love for Avondale? There you go. No, I'll pick Avondale. And on the basis, as I said, that that's where Liam Boland originally, he played a fair bit of his NPL career in Victoria, so I'll back the Italians on that one. Well, they're both Italian, aren't they? So
back the Victorians.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Avondale, do it for Liam if you're listening out there. Okay, thank you so much for joining us, Stephen, and good luck on your next round, and also good luck on your RFP process, because we are all absolutely eagerly awaiting to see this national second tier. I think it will completely be a landmark moment in Australian football when it finally gets up. So thank you so much for your ambition and also for joining us tonight.
No, my pleasure, and thanks for everyone across the country for supporting the Green Machine. And yeah, hopefully there's a few more chapters to go this season.
So that's all we got time for. Don't forget to leave your comments on the forum, greenandgoldfc.com. We also are available on Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course YouTube. Please remember to like and subscribe. Until next time, that's all we have time for. It's bye for now.